Okay, here we go. Practice test 1, linear programming. Here we go.
No, he has resource next because I have it.
Okay, you guys get your practice test out. We're looking at the big problem. And it's the one that says it's about hamburgers and hot dogs. Practice test 1, the linear programming problem. Okay? So I'm going to start rolling through, and Cameron, when I get to the part that you have a question about, let me know. Okay. Alright, so we have our hamburgers, we have our hot dogs, total number. Now, some of these problems have this fixed interval in them, and if that is the case on your test, if there is a problem with a fixed interval, as some of these have, I will fill it in for you in the chart. So if we let X be hamburgers and Y be hot dogs, then X has to be between 10 and 40. So that is going to be one of my equations that I graph. And when I graph it, it says the X's have to be between 10 and 40. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let my scale be 10, 20, 30, 40. And I'm going to go ahead and graph right there. These are all of the X's. My lines aren't very straight, I apologize. But those are all of the X's between 10 and 40. So that's the fixed interval. And again, I will fill, if there is a fixed interval question on the test, I will fill that in the chart for you, but then you are responsible for graphing it. Now, we have to sell at least 30 hot dogs, but not more than 70. So my hot dogs are between 30 and 70. So my hot dogs are here. So I am in between these two lines and in between these two lines. So right now I'm looking at this box right here. Would you agree with me?
Yep.
In between in the Y interval and in the X interval. Okay, and that one gets graphed also, so I already did that. Okay, now what are the two that automatically every time we put here, even though we don't have to worry about graphing them because I took care of it in the grid itself, what are the two inequalities that are always going to go here? X is greater than or equal to 0 and Y is greater than or equal to 0. I took care of that, kids, because here's the origin. I only showed the positive, quadrant 1. I only showed the positive parts of the graph. So they're taking care of you automatically. All right, there's probably another number that I don't have in my chart though. Have I put everything in here? 90. I'm missing some stuff. I cannot cook more than 90 sandwiches altogether. Where does that 90 go? It's a total. Is it a total number, a total interval, or a total profit? It's a total number. That's how many sandwiches you can make. So X plus Y has to be less than or equal to 90. You can't make more than 90. So however many hamburgers and hot dogs you make, they can't add up to more than 90. Now, let's go ahead and fill in our profit. What's our profit? 33 for a hamburger, that's 33 cents, and 21 cents for a hot dog. So what am I maximizing? My profit, right? And how will I calculate that? 0.33x plus 0.21y. Now, does that one get graphed? No. That has its own space over here, right? I'm not graphing it. I am graphing just these right here. All right, so here we go. Geechee, what are you doing? All right, so I'm going to graph this one in red so it sticks out a little bit. And again, when I graph something like this, this has 2 letters in it. These 2 only had 1 letter in them. When there's 2 letters in them, I cover one up and graph the other one. So if I cover up X, Y is 90. And if I cover up Y, X is 90. Now your graph is going to look a lot better than mine because obviously I don't have a grid. But now I'm going to draw the line connecting those 2 dots. And where do I shade it? Under. Now remember though, we already were confined to the box, right? So now we're confined to the box that's under the red line. So that's going to be this space right here. Would you agree with that? It's the part of the box that is under the red line. All right, what's the next step? So step 1, we filled in our chart. Step 2, we figured out what our equations were. Step 3, we graphed those. Now what do? List the points. So I've already kind of darkened them. We see the big red points, but now I have to figure out what they are. And there are 5 of them this time. Most of them are very, very easy to locate. For example, look at this guy right here. What's his X? 10. What's his Y? 30. So that one's easy, 10, 30. What about this one? What's this one? 40, 30. Those are easy. They're right there on horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, what about this one? 1070. Now, these 2 are a little bit harder, but not bad. Remember, what do you know about this line? That line, they add up to 90. All right, let's take a look here. What do I know about the Y? The Y is on 70. If the Y is on 70, then the X must be 20 because they got to add up to 90. So that's the point 2070. Now what about this one? What do I know about this one? The X is on the 40. So since they got to add up to 90, the Y must be 50. So there are my points. Cameron, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, that was the part where you find the points that aren't on a specific
You got it?
one.
All right, so now we have our points. So we've gone through and we have listed our points. All right, what do we do next? We're almost done. What do we do now? We take each of those points, so let's just take the first one, 10, 30, and what do I do with it? Plug it into this guy, right here. How much money do I make if I make 10 X's, oops, and 30 Y's? $9.60. Now I'm going to make 40 X's and 30 Y's. Ooh, I got 1950 for that one. 10 X's and 70 wise. Oh, shoot. 18. $23.70. Now, since my purpose is to maximize my profit, I'm going to look at that list I got there and I'm going to pick which one? The last one. And I'm going to say I need to make 40 hamburgers and 50 hot dogs for a profit of $23.70. Sounds like a lot of work for $23, but there we go. Okay? All right.
Wait, why is it the last one? So then you would have to. Okay, there.
Yeah, each of them is a little bit different, so you got to be ready. Is your hand up? Each of them is a little bit different, so you just have to, you know, do your best. Shading is important, yep, because you got to know what your feasible region is. All right, what else do we need to talk about? We can do another one. We can do the one on practice test 3 if you want to do that one. You want to do another one of these? Mm-hmm. All right. Let's do, now we'll do the one on practice test 3. Okay? So we're going to do the problem on practice test 3. Okay, boys, we're going to do practice test 3. Did you find your paper, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. We're doing practice test 3 now. We're going to do word problem on practice test 3. So here we go. Please pay attention, quit talking. Here's our chart. As I'm copying this down, why don't you read the problem and fill in everything from the chart, or everything from the problem that you can't fill it into the chart. All right, so this is another one that's got a fixed interval, so I went ahead and filled that in like I will on your test if this shows up. We are between, it says you have to do, for the A-type questions, which I've called X, you have to do at least 3, but no more than 12. So between 3 and 12 of them. So we're going to grab so this time I'm looking at between 3 and 12. I'm looking at that space right there. And then my Y's have to be between 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. So I have to be between these 2 lines and between these 2 lines. So do you see this box right here? This is kind of what we're looking at so far. is there anything else that needs to go on the chart? Yes, there is.
The total,
Yeah, what do I know about a total? 20 questions total. So one of my equations is going to be x plus y is less than or equal to 20. Because I can only do 20 questions. I know x is between 3 and 12. I've already graphed that. I know y is between 4 and 15. I've already graphed that. What else goes here? X is greater than or equal to 0. Y is greater than or equal to 0. Those are automatics. Easy points. All right, what's the value of each? 10 for the x's, and so my maximum score, I want to get a maximum score this time, will be half on half. 10x plus 25y. Right? Okay. Now I've already graphed these two. Is that all right with everybody? I'm in between these x's and in between these y's. So I'm looking at this box right here. Now what else do I need to put in there that I don't have yet? I gotta put in this equation right here, right? I haven't graphed that one yet. So I gotta go out to 20. There it is, right there. Okay, and then somehow I have to draw a straight line down through there. Sort of close. And where is that one shaded? Below. So, let's see if I have a darker marker here. Okay, so here's my lines, okay, and I'm below that. So remember, we're already in the box. So now we got to be in the box and below the blue-green line. So we are looking at this space. Would you agree? All right, what do I do now? Philip, what do I do now? Find my points. Some of them are super simple. For example, this guy right here is the point where x is 3 and y is 4. So I have the point 3, 4. All right, this one's equally easy. This is the point where x is 3 and y is 15. This one's easy. That's 12, 4. Now these other two on the diagonal, those are a little bit harder, but still not bad. Remember that if they're on the diagonal, they have to add up to 20. So this guy right here, I know what about y? 15. So that means x has to be, what? 5, because they got to add up to 20. So 5, 15. Now look at this one. What do I know about him? His x is 12. But they gotta add up to 20, so if the x is 12, then the y is 8. Okay, now what? Take each of those points and see what your score will be. What if you do 3 x's and 4 y's? If you do 3 x's and 4 y's, you're going to get 130. Well, what if you do 3 x's and 15 y's? 405. 12 x's and 4 y's be 220. 5 and 15 or 25. Keep an eye on my arithmetic. 12 and 8. Okay, so I went through and found my score at each of those points. Obviously, I want to get the highest one I can. So what should I do? 5 type A questions and 15 type B questions for a score of 425. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? All right, that's one page of the test, but there's 4 other pages. So what issues, are there any other issues you have about any of the other questions? Any of the other kinds of problems? Look at your practice test and ask yourself, if she gave me this right now, what would I not be able to do? Any other skill we need to practice? Anything we still need to practice? Oh yeah, Julie? Okay, the last page is the calculator page. So remember, I mean, you'll have a calculator for the whole thing to help you like punch in, you know, this kind of stuff. But that last page, you're actually viewing the problem on the calculator. So I am looking at practice test 3, the last problem, which is the calculator problem. Here is what you need to write down. You need to write down the matrix that you're putting into the calculator. Then you're going to press the REF button, and a matrix is going to come out of the calculator. So you need to write down the matrix that goes in and the matrix that comes out and your final answer. Phil, get your head up. If you're sick, you can go to the nurse. Otherwise, pay attention. Let's get a sticker tomorrow. Okay, so I am on the last page of the last practice test. I'm on the calculator problem. So I'm putting in my matrix. I have 1E, 2 F's, negative 3 G's, an H, and it equals negative 8. Then I have 1E, 1 F, negative 1 G, negative 1 H, and negative 1. Now be careful in equation number 3. Do you see that your F is missing? So I have to put a 0 in. And in the bottom equation, E and F are both missing, so I have to put in 2 zeros. If you do not put in the right matrix, you will not get the right answer. So make sure that you've copied correctly. Alex, what are you doing? All right, here we go. So now I go to second matrix, right? And when I come to second matrix, I go across to edit, press enter. Now, what are the dimensions of this matrix? 4 by 5. So I put in 4 by 5. And then I just start putting in all the numbers. So make sure if there's a negative that you're putting it in.
Can the calculator find the determinant?
Yep. But you have to show your work. The calculator can do everything. If you don't show your work, you don't get any points. This is the only problem if you don't have to show work for it. Once you get all of your numbers in, you second click, because all the numbers are in. Then we go back to second matrix. What do we do now? The second time we go in, where do we go? Over to math. And then all the way down the list till we find the RREF. Press it. And then second matrix, enter. And out will come this if you put everything in right.
Are you uploading this video tonight?
Yeah, but this whole pretest is already on there. The whole thing is already there. Okay, so this is what I got. And believe it or not, that gives me my answer. This column of numbers is your answer. Because remember, when you set it up, you said E equals 4. So F equals -3, G is 2, and H is 0. That's all you have to write down.
So you enter them in and then you push.
Second quit, and then go back into second matrix, over to math, down to RREF, enter, second matrix, enter, and it will give you that matrix right there. Okay? If you don't write this stuff down, even if you have the right answer, if you don't write down everything I want you to write down, you're not going to get full credit. So write down the matrix you put in, write down the matrix that came out, write down your answer.
Do we have to put the letters above?
Nope, you don't have to put the letters above. All right, what else? We have a couple more minutes. What else is going to be, you know, the test is going to look just like this. So what else do we need to know? Let's make sure we know our vocabulary. Practice test 3. Practice test 3, number 6. This is all vocabulary. So practice test 3, number 6. Is B a square? No. Why not?
Not the same number.
Not the same number of rows as columns. Remember, a square matrix has the same number of rows as columns. All right. What does this mean? What am I looking for? I'm looking for the number that is in the second row and the third column. So what number is in the second row and the third column? -2. Remember, this is always the row column or number, and this is always the column number. What are the dimensions of matrix B? 3 by 4. 3 by 4, and write that 3 by 4. Define scalar.
Number outside the brackets.
It's a real number. That's all you need to say. It's a real number. Now, it often appears in front of a matrix, but it can also appear in front of a vector or in front of anything. It is simply a real number. A scalar is a real number. What is a matrix? This question is on every practice test. Define matrix. A rectangular array of numbers. My guess is that's going to be on the test, since it's been on every practice test. All right, Geechee says, how do you find the inverse of a matrix? Remember that the inverse is a two-step process. So if matrix B, if matrix B is this, and I need to find the inverse, the first thing I do is find the determinant. So the determinant is -1 minus 6. -1 minus 6. So that's -7. So my inverse is going to be 1 over -7. It's always 1 over the determinant. Then we take these two numbers and we switch them. Now, because they're both ones, it's going to look like I'm changing their signs. I'm not. I'm picking this one up and putting it down here, and that one is coming down here. Whatever those two numbers are, they physically switch places. That becomes negative, and that becomes negative. Those two numbers, the 3 and the 2, stay where they are. You just change their signs. Now, we're just going to put all those over -7, and that's going to be our answer. So here we go. We're going to have -1,7, +2,7, +3,7, and +1,7. And that would be my inverse. Probably not. I'm going to run out of time. Remember, when you multiply, though, you take the numbers in the row times the numbers in the column. So if I were going to multiply these two matrices together, I would take this row times this column. So I would write down all the numbers in the row, spread them out, and then all the numbers in the column. And yours won't be this big, I just happen to have that one up there. And then add them up. So the first answer right here, row 1, row column, will be 1 plus 6, which is 7, and 0, 8, minus 32, -24. If I did my arithmetic right. And then we would go on to row 2, column 1, and do exactly the same thing. Write down the numbers from the row and the numbers from the column, multiply them and add them up. All right, time to go, I think. Let me double check, but I think it's time to go. And tomorrow is test day, so be ready. I think they're first thing in the morning. We're pretty close to it in the morning. Yeah, we are. And it's pretty early. So be ready.
Why do we have to be here?
Okay. All right.